Hey guys, it's Jen with Next Level Wealth Coaching, and it is just me today. Amy will be back with us soon. Today we're going to talk about how to set a goal, and this seems like a simple concept, and yet I don't know that it is. And so you're going to hear me over the next several months talking specifically about goal setting and goal planning, because what I believe is that we need to begin now planning for 2023, knowing that really as entrepreneurs, our Happy New Year is October 1st. The beginning of Q4 is really the beginning of 2023 from a revenue standpoint, because the activities we do in Q4 affect our revenue in Q1. So that's why we're talking about it now. I know it feels early for some folks, and yet I want to make sure that you are absolutely ready to go in 2023. So how to set a goal. Let's talk about that for a minute, because there's lots out there. There's tons you can Google. SMART goals, right, are the thing that everybody talks about. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. Great. Those are important. I'm going to take it a little bit further than that, because I feel like goal setting is really about a set of questions or a series of questions that you ask yourself to make sure that the goal that you're setting, you're actually committed to doing. And so what happens is we set goals. We're like, this in theory is what we want, or this is what we think we should want, or this is what people tell us we want. Hey, Ethan. Thanks for being here. And what tends to happen is we write the goal down, we shove it in a drawer, we never talk about it again. And then at the end of the year, we're baffled as to why we haven't met that goal. So I want us to ask some questions first. So I want you to think about 2023. I'm going to talk further in different lives, in more lives that we get into, also in a goal planning workshop, about sort of the different types of goals. But let's just pick one, right, in your mind. So revenue is usually the easiest for people, especially entrepreneurs, to wrap their mind around. So where do I want to go is the first question that I ask myself. So, all right, let's think about revenue. What revenue, what dollar amount, what do I want to put in my pocket? What do I want to gross, net, however you frame it, next year in 2023? Great. There's a goal, right? It's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, potentially. We need to ask more questions. It's realistic, potentially. We need to ask more questions. And it's time bound because it's within the year of 2023. So it is technically a SMART goal. And yet I feel like we need to go further in, okay, why do I want that goal? So let's say just for ease, your goal is $100,000, right? Why do I want $100,000? The next question is, why is it important to me to get to $100,000 specifically? The way that I always check myself on this is I do kind of a financial thermostat exercise. So if I often ask my clients, okay, so if you were to get to 90,000, would that be a win for you? And if they say yes, then I keep going. Okay, if you were to get to 80,000, would that still be a win for you? 70,000. I keep going until they're like, no, stop, right? That's how we know their financial thermostat, because we understand that if they're like, no, I cannot go below 60,000, their brains are geared to meet the $60,000 mark, but not necessarily to get all the way to the 100,000. And so I know that there's some adjustments I need to help them work on mindset and action wise in order to actually get to that 100,000. Okay. So why is the 100,000 important? Really understanding at a high level what that's going to do for that individual and that family, or their family, or whoever or whatever they're wanting to utilize that money for. Helping them really dial that in is really important. So if I were you guys and I'm entrepreneurs and I'm thinking about my revenue goal, which is not going to be your only goal, but if that's the goal that you're thinking of, really do that test of financial thermostat to see, okay, am I really committed to this? Is this actually really important to me? Why is it important? Is it because 100,000 seems like a lot of money? Is it because my neighbor makes 100,000 and so I want to make 100,000? Is it because it's 20% more than what I made last year and all the books say that that's what I should be doing, right? Anytime that there's like some shoulds in there or some comparison in there, I want you to dig further, because it could be that you're setting yourself up to fail because you're really not connected or committed to that goal. Okay, so after you've asked, why is this important to me? What's important about getting to 100,000? Then it's, am I 100% committed to getting there? We're going to go further than that, because most people say yes to that question. I want you to go further. Okay, so do I have the energy, the time, the resources to accomplish whatever goal I'm looking to accomplish? That's a tricky one, because when we break that out, those are three very big categories. And again, those who goal plan with me know that we're going to go deep into your energy management. We're going to go deep into your time management. We're going to go deep into what resources you have around you, both people resources and systems resources that are going to support you in getting to your goal. So ask yourself those questions. It's so great if 100,000 is your goal, 200,000, a million, I don't care what the number is, whatever that goal is, do you have the energy, the time, and the resources to actually get there? If the answer is no to any of those, there's adjustments that have to be made either to your goal or to your time, energy, and resources, right? So as a coach, I'm going to say to you, look, if we want to get there, cool. We're going to have to, are you willing to make the adjustments necessary in order to get there? Okay, so do you have the energy, time, and resources? And then the next one is, are you willing to put in the time, energy, and resources to get to that goal? Really ask yourself these questions honestly, because if you're not, you're going to be really frustrated at the end of the year because you're not going to make it to your goal because you weren't really invested. You weren't really clear about what it would take in order to get there, and you weren't committed to that investment of time, energy, or resources. Okay, so the next question I might ask is, how will I know that I've reached the goal? So if it's a revenue goal, that's pretty simple, right? It's, okay, I'm going to track my numbers. I'm going to track my gross commission, whatever that is for you, and my sales, and I'm going to know when I get to $100,000. Cool. If it's a goal that is not as tangible, right? So let's say it's not a revenue goal. I want you to ask yourself, how will I know when I get there? What tends to happen also is people create goals that aren't super tangible. So they might say to me, I'd like to be in better health. Cool. That's a great sentiment that isn't a goal, right? So go back to the SMART goal, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound, that we've all heard 100 times, right? And take that a little bit further to, okay, how will I know when I'm have better health? What will it look like? What will it feel like? How will others be able to see it in me, right? Really, really dial into the specifics. Again, that's going to help you not create a goal that's too nebulous, that's too sort of out there, that we aren't clear on the action plan to get there. Because once you create the goal, then what you do is work backwards to figure out, okay, what are the strategies and the actions and the activities necessary to get there? So you can have an overarching goal of better well-being, right? Or health, right? Whatever that means for you. And yet we've got to get really dialed in underneath there so that we know how you're actually going to achieve that and when you've achieved it. Right, so the end of 2023, December 31st, you're reviewing your year and you're like, I have crushed this year. I am in better health. I've met my revenue goals. We want to know without a shadow of a doubt that that has happened. And so we've got to be specific, right? We've got to make it measurable. Okay, so the other thing that is really important to me, I have been in goal planning with tons of people. I've coached hundreds of people at this point, and I have seen goals push people, and I have seen goals paralyze people. The two P's, right? So I always want to look at, is the goal that I have created, does it make my heart beat a little bit faster? Does it make me like a little bit nervous? Cool. Does it make me shut down and go into overload? Not cool. When a goal is too big and feels too far away for us, we get paralyzed. We get stuck, right? And what tends to happen is if it's 3 months into the year and we're not where we think we should be, we tend to let it go and give up. And what I say is that's a dream. It's not a goal. A goal is something that is achievable and realistic based on the energy, time, and resources that we're willing to put into meeting the goal. So be really careful with that. I want you to feel pushed. I want it to feel outside of your comfort zone. I don't want it to feel so far that you get frozen in time, right? And a lot of people come to me with these huge goals, right? And I never want to be the naysayer that's like, this can't happen. And yet I am going to ask a lot more questions about their activities, because let's just give an example. So from a revenue standpoint, these are always just the easiest, most tangible goals to look at. If somebody made $20,000 last year, okay, and they worked the whole year for $20,000 as an entrepreneur, and their goal is $1 million or even 500,000, right? I'm going to need to understand, I'm not saying it's not possible, I'm going to need to understand what is going to shift. What are the major differences in their activities, in their energy, in their commitment, right? In their time, that's going to allow them to go from 20,000 to 500,000 or to $1 million, right? Even 20,000 to 100,000, I need to understand what's going to be different, right? Or what we're doing is setting ourselves up to fail. We're setting ourselves up to dream, but not set a goal that's really tangible. Now, if somebody says to me, within the next 5 years, I want to be at $1 million. Great. That may be realistic for them. I'm still going to ask a lot of questions. We're still going to go through and work backwards and figure out how we make that happen. And yet that may be a trajectory that we can certainly get them on, but we've got to ask more questions. So push, not paralyze. All right, so I'm just going to review really quickly the questions, and then I'm going to jump off of here. You'll see over the next little bit, you'll see some slides on Instagram that talk a little bit more about this. So if you didn't get all the questions today, you'll see them coming up. We will also be having a goal planning workshop that's coming up. We have September the 21st. I don't know what day of the week that is in this moment. September the 21st at 6 p.m. We're going to be doing a free masterclass that's specifically on goal planning. So it's going to be an hour where we're going to dive in a little bit more deeply into some of these concepts. So please join us for that. You'll see the sign up shortly to get signed up for that. Okay, let's review the questions. Where do you want to go? That's number one. What are we looking to do? What are we looking to accomplish? That's number one. Why do I want to go there? What's important to me about getting to that goal? Am I 100% committed to getting to that goal? Check your financial thermostat. Say to yourself, okay, if my goal was 100,000 and I got to 90,000, would that be a win? 80,000, would that be a win? 70,000, would that feel like a win? If the answer is yes, then your financial thermostat, the way you're thinking about your revenue is smaller than your goal. And so we've got to work on some adjustment there. Okay? What will happen that will let me know that the goal has been achieved? So make sure it's super tangible, that you know, okay, I've achieved that. Or rework the goal so that it's more clear. Do I have the energy, time, and resources to accomplish this goal? Be very honest with yourself. And then the next part of that is, am I willing to implement an energy plan, a time management plan, additional resources in order to get there? Okay? And then finally, does this goal push me or does it paralyze me? I want it to push you. I don't want it to stop you in your tracks. All right, so this is just a little bit into how to set goals for 2023. Stay tuned. You're going to hear a lot more from me about this topic. I'm super passionate. All right. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.